Rashid, and assalamu alaikum to everyone. And thank you very much to MOGEC for hosting this seminar today. Really appreciate the effort that's gone in, and there's a lot of organization in the background. So today's seminar is really all about what is artificial intelligence and machine learning. If you go onto LinkedIn, you'll find hundreds and thousands of articles about AI and ML and how it's being used. So we thought we'd drill this down to a practical level and say, well, what can we actually do with artificial intelligence and machine learning in order to benefit the business in the asset-intensive industries? So that's what we're really going to focus on. So we'll start off with defining what we mean by AIML, then go through what is involved in it, and then how is it applied in the asset-intensive industries. And then let's have a look, drill down to some case studies from Malaysia, which will be very relevant to most of you on the call. And then some global case studies as well to say, well, or to demonstrate what's been done around the world. And we'll end off with a short demonstration before we go into questions and a discussion around applicability to other industries as well.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Richard. I will pass to Engineer Nazari to read out the questions.
First question from Shazana Osman, wanting to know if you have encountered old process plan drawings without isometric drawings. He says, for example, if it was lost using this application of AI for flange management.
Okay, so if I understand the question correctly, a couple of parts. First of all, almost all the plants we deal with are old. Having said that, the two latest projects have been on brand new plants because the data wasn't handed over correctly. But on old process plants, I assume your question is asking whether we can determine all the flanges to create a flange management register if you have no isometrics. The way that we would approach that is we would use one of our partner companies to use a either laser scanning or photogrammetry approach to capture the physical asset. We can then extract flanges from that data. We've done that before. So you can have if it's photogrammetry, we can extract that, or if it's laser scanning, we can extract that. But of course, you wouldn't know what the specification of that flange is. You would need documentation for that. But if there's no isometrics, we would certainly go down that route, and we've done it before with clients where we go and physically capture the plant using a 3D capture technique, and then we can process that to build up the information about that asset.
Okay, Engineer Nazari, there's one more. Nazari?
Yep. Next question from Najib. Yeah. Hang on.
Najib, yes, sir.
If intelligent drawing in PDF is not available for data tracing, will there be another alternative?
Not sure I understand the question. If we can get a drawing of the PNID in any format, whether it's PDF or TIFF or scanned image, we can process that to make that intelligent. So we can process any format of drawing. Is that? I'm not sure if that answers the question.
Engineer Najib, is it answer the question?
We'll wait for him to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next from Amin Rosalie. Great application and demo of AIML for data extraction. Have you encountered any AIML application in terms of process or design phase, i.e. equipment sizing or calculations?
Okay. Yeah. Yes, there are companies which do that. We've focused really on more on the operation side, not really the project side. And we do the maintenance build side once the drawings are done. But yes, there are certainly companies such as AIS, which is part of ACA Solutions, which focus on the design side, and Kongsberg Digital, which focus on the design side. We work with both of things. We don't compete because we're not really into the design applications. But yes, there are certainly companies that do that sort of thing in the design phase.
Okay. Any other questions? No?
No, there's one here. Then the toolkit.
Yeah, from Dr. Tokil here. He says, do you have experience with extracting data from old documents to create a digital twin of an asset?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we do. Yep, absolutely. And some of those examples in Malaysia was doing exactly that. The one in Oman, we've got 1.1 million documents. That's to do exactly that. So, yep, that's what we do. That's our main course of action, is to create these documents, or rather create the data to feed into a digital twin. And of course, we focus on the data extraction side, not the visual side, so not the 3D side, but of course, we can link in with that. So we, if you like, there's an English expression, stick to your knitting, stick to what you're good at. Now, we understand the resource sector very well. We understand the engineering because in our company, we're all engineers. So we stick to what we're good at, and that's the understanding the data and the documents, being able to extract that data.
Okay, next is from Siva Kumar Velayan. He says, can you please share the slide? Of course, we will share all the slides. For those who have registered, please provide your email address. From Yi, how will it be if the plant undergo plant modification, which involve few changes in PNIDs, like adding a new line, removing a few lines, adding few control valves, etc.?
Okay, yes, very good question, and thank you for that. Very, very simple. It happens all the time. All we do is we reprocess the drawing, right, and it will then update the data. So if a line was added, right, we would reprocess that drawing, and the line would appear in the new tag register. If a valve was removed, that valve would then disappear from that one. So all we do is reprocess the drawing, because as we said, there's those 3 stages, and that would just go through those 3 stages again. We'd upload the drawing, reprocess it. There'd be no machine learning because it's already done that before. So we would just reprocess that, and you'd have the new drawing with the modifications on that particular drawing. Now, what we didn't show you in the demonstration, because of time really, is you can do comparisons between versions of drawings. So if you've done that modification, you made those changes, you can ask the system to say, well, what's changed from the last revision to this revision? And it will highlight everything that's been added and everything that's been deleted as well.
Okay, another question from Anas, mechanical engineer from ESIP. Is it possible to scan and extract data from physical drawings in case PDF versions are not available?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any format, as long as it's humanly readable. Right, that's what we say always, is as long as it's humanly readable, then we can process them.
Okay, another question by Siva Kumar. Would any cost attractive if we use artificial intelligence, or there will be big cost involved?
Okay, yeah, a very good question, very perceptive. And what we do whenever we price up a project, we would work out ourselves, because we've got the experience, of how long it would take without AI. Now, if we can't go at least half that price, we don't bid for that project. That's our approach. So yes, there are significant savings, and if we can't demonstrate that we, as against to say for example, you were going to extract a whole lot of tags from drawings, all right? And I said, okay, so how you plan to do it now? And you say, well, we're going to do it manually. All right, what's the rate of your engineers? And we think it's going to take an hour to extract for each drawing, and say it was $100 an hour, so that takes $100 per drawing. Unless we can quote at $50 a drawing, then we would say, no, look, it's not suitable. We can't quote for this. So that's the approach that we take. And yeah, there are, as you saw from the quote from Nick Harris from Petronas, who said, what is it, 70% saving in schedule and 50% on costs. So, we did actually, and that's from the client side, not from what we expected. So significant savings. As I said in the presentation, we're not just tinkering around the edges trying to save 5% here or 5% there. There's a step change in it, and the bigger the project, the more the savings are. As I've said also previously, on the Middle East project, 1.1 million documents, so significant savings in both time and cost for that client. Because, you know, that's why I've been at pains in this presentation to go through what the process is. Once we've configured the system to process the drawings or documents, then it's very, very quick after that. On that flanges extraction, we're doing 10,000 documents an hour once the system had been processed, programmed, and well, not programmed, but configured. So, you know, there's some significant savings there.
Okay, next question from Aisamuddin. This question is, I faced a drawing with Japanese writing on it. I wonder how good machine learning process those words.
Okay, yeah, very good question. We've been asked this quite a few times. Our challenge to that is getting a Japanese engineer on board to understand what it says. All right. Yeah, the AIML package, right, and identify anything. All right. We've done Russian, we've done English, we've done other languages, but it's really having somebody in the team who understands that language. So the barrier is not the system, the barrier is having a Japanese engineer on board to help us tell us what it means, because I don't understand Japanese, so neither does our AI team. So that's the challenge. It's a people challenge rather than a technology challenge, but good question.
So the challenge is to teach the machine first to understand
That's
Japanese,
right.
correct?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Right.
yes.
Question from Wee Jiantio. Does AIML work on languages like Spanish and Mandarin?
Absolutely. Comes back to the same question, really. We just need somebody to understand Spanish.
We have his next question. We have an issue of not being able to recognize vendor PNIDs by package equipment vendors from China.
Okay, yeah, what we always suggest, all right, now when we do a demo, I'm talking to a client tonight, actually doing a demonstration in Europe, and what we normally do is we say, well, send us some sample drawings, and we'll process them, and then we can have the discussion. Because I cannot show you one of our clients' PNIDs because it's confidential information, and also it makes clients feel a lot more comfortable if we're processing their drawings, all right? So what we would say is, well, let's take a couple of samples, let's have a look at it. And if we look at it and say, no, this is in the too hard basket, we can't do it, then we don't waste your time or our time. But if we can, then we can process it, and we can have a look at it. Also, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So everybody on the call probably doesn't know what our full capability is. So if we can process a drawing, we can go back and say, well, look, we can add these hierarchies, we can compare version, we can do all of that sort of thing, which could be of huge benefit to you. So that would be our approach, is to take some samples and run them through with you.
Good. Any further questions? No?
Looks like no.
Okay, well, I hope everyone's found that useful. There's another question.
Yeah, another question from Najib.
Mm.
Oh, he says that just now question by Anas was answered. Means there is another way to scan, extract, and gain data besides getting directly from PDF version.
Okay, so if you gave us an AutoCAD file as a source file, right, the data is held within that document. Now, what we would do in data extraction is we would take the most reliable and the best quality source. So if you gave us an AutoCAD drawing with the tags embedded in the data structure of that drawing, we would use that. All right, we would identify the objects, but we would extract the data from there. So the smart thing to do in this environment is to use the best possible source of data, or the cleanest possible. So, you know, maybe the text is not that clear on the drawing, but it's held in the database in the background. We use the database, and that's the approach we take there. So we don't automatically scan and extract every single tag, because that might not be the best way of doing it.
Okay, next question from Siva Kumar. How to protect our data from cybersecurity and how to overcome unemployment issues due to AI?
Okay, so two questions there. First of all, everything sits behind the huge protection in Amazon Web Services. All right, so we hang off that. Everything is sitting there. So that's the same place as your SAP system is stored. It's the same places where your banking data is stored. So you go to the hole in the wall and type in your number and extract your 100 Malays and ringgits. All that data has been held in either Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. So we're using the same protection there. So it's not held on a server in Richard Beck's office, right, which could be hacked at any time, right? So we've got all of that protection in place, right? That was the first part of the question. The second part, we've actually seen the opposite effect, not job reduction, but job increase, right? Because these machines need to be programmed. The data needs to be tested after being extracted. So we have teams of people being built up to do this work, right? So rather than seeing that being reduced, and AI is a big topic here in Australia. There's a lot of government money going into that, and a lot of jobs being created because the technology is changing all the time. And we've got a team of, in our development team in Europe, there's 200 developers there. Not all of them work on our products, but there's about 20 of them working permanently on our products because the technology is changing so fast, all right, and you've got to keep up. So the other side of it is that, you remember my first slide or first couple of slides was got the domain knowledge plus AI, and those two together is what produces the real benefit. So we don't not need engineers. We still need engineers to understand what this data is all about, because we're just using AI in the loop, as I said, all right, to extract the data. All the rest is human involvement in it. So we're actually seeing the opposite. We're seeing, we're recruiting people that's going out of style, all right, because more projects come along, we need to extract the data and do that. So we're seeing a shift in the focus rather than a reduction. Does that make sense? I hope so.
So if there are no further questions, I have a couple of questions. How fast can documents be processed using this AI?
Okay, thanks, Nazara. Yeah, good question. We have found that once we've done the machine learning and the configuration of the system, the beauty of using the cloud technology is we can click on however many servers we want to do the processing. These are very powerful servers, and we've clocked around 10,000 documents an hour at maximum, which we've done. And we could go higher if we wanted to, it'd just be more processing cost. But yeah, so it can go from very low to very high. So we can process, once we program the system, 100,000 documents overnight. Right? And we've been doing that on projects before. We'll just do a massive processing boost of that.
So it's actually only taking a fraction of the time that a human would otherwise do, correct?
Absolutely, very, very much. Yes. Once we've taught the system, right, what to do and what to extract.